So I'm Christopher, the co-founder of Snappa. My other co-founder, Mark's attending here as well. We're a freemium SaaS with a relatively low price point. So in order to make this work bootstrap, we need to generate a lot of signups. So today I'm going to talk about how we've been able to do that through three main things. So 2 years ago, we didn't even think of Snappa at that time, and we're working on a website called Bootstrap Bay, which was a marketplace for bootstrap templates, and we grew that through SEO and content marketing. So I was getting really into this stuff, and I came across this blog post from Brian Dean of backlinko.com. It's a great website if you're doing content marketing, and he had this case study about the Skyscraper Technique. And basically what it is you find link-worthy content, you make something even better, and then you promote that effectively. And so how do we find link-worthy content? So there's a couple tools that are really good for this. So Buzzsumo is a great one. You can put any sort of keyword or a competitor URL, and it'll give you all of the most shared content for that specific keyword or competitor. Similarly, on Ahrefs or Open Site Explorer, it'll give you all the backlinks. So this is just incredible data to find, what's working out there. Community sites are amazing. Reddit's a goldmine. There's subreddits for absolutely everything. There's also more niche communities like inbound.org, Hacker News, so you can see what's popular, and you can even search Twitter. So in our case, I was on Reddit, and I came across this post on stock photo sites that don't suck. And it got 290 upvotes, and it did extremely well. And when I went to this post, it was basically just a list of links to all these sites. So I thought to myself, wow, this could be improved upon. So how do we improve things? There's four main things, and ideally you want your piece of content to tick all these boxes, so make it longer. On average, the longer your content, the more shares and backlinks it's going to generate. You want to make it more up-to-date. Freshness is always good. Better designed and more thorough. So basically what I did was I took that original post and I checked all those boxes. I made it more thorough. I explained all the different licenses. I said which license each resource fell under. I added photos to all of them. I made it more fresh. I added more resources. Just tried to beef up that post as much as I could. And then once you have your piece of content, it's time to promote it effectively. So the first thing you want to do is email outreach. Every tool or person that you mention in your blog post, always send them an email to let them know about it, and most of the time they're going to be happy to share that. The next thing you want to do is email all the people who shared or linked to that piece of content. So using those same tools like Buzzsumo and Ahrefs, you can actually get all the people who shared that original piece of content. So if you created something 10 times better, they're probably going to be quite willing to share or link to your better piece of content. So when all was said and done, I wrote this post, 17 amazing sites with breathtaking free stock photos, and it generated 369,000 shares. Most of that came from Stumble Upon. It basically went viral, and obviously there's a lot of luck involved. I will acknowledge that. But I was very methodical about how I went about producing this content and promoting this piece of content. So since it's been released, it's gotten almost 2 million hits to that site, and it ranks on the first page of Google now for free stock photos and continues to generate traffic. So the key takeaway here is what is already popular that you can make even better. This is going to be more difficult if you're in a competitive niche like marketing, because you got guys like Neil Patel who write 40,000 word guides. But if you're in a more unsexy niche, this could probably be a really good strategy. So at this point, we've got this piece of content that is, getting more and more traffic each month. And I'm looking at all these sites that we're linking out to, and none of them had search at the time. You couldn't sort them in any way. And so I thought, it would be awesome if there was a stock photo site with, these beautiful photos that you can actually search. So I told Mark, I said, can you code this? And he said, yeah, sure. And so we came out this side project, stocksnap.io, where we basically post these beautiful photos released under Creative Commons. and it's done really well. So we put it on Product Hunt. It got over 1,000 upvotes. When it got shared on Reddit, it got 400 upvotes. We emailed all these, curation sites to get it added. Almost every blog post about, where to find free stock photos, we tend to get mentioned, and we tried to email as many people as we could. So this site has also done really well. As you can see, it's got 3.5 million hits so far, and it does about 2.5 million page views a month. And so, side projects I think are becoming a really good tactic, especially if you're in a niche where content is getting really difficult. So when WP Engine first launched, they came out with this WordPress speed test tool. So it was a great little tool, good lead generation source. Another good one recently is CoSchedule. So they have software for content marketers, and they built this neat little headline analyzer tool. So it's a really good tool for content marketers to generate better headlines. And then you have these crazy side projects like Follower Wonk from Moz, which is another great lead generation source. So there's all kinds of examples of people who've developed these side projects that generate a lot of leads for their main business. And so the takeaway here is what can you give away in order to sell something similar? And I guess a second takeaway would be taking advantage of opportunity. We had that blog post that was generating a lot of traffic. We could have just left it, but we recognized why don't we just make our own and capitalize even more? So at this point, we have two things that are generating a lot of content, and we actually had built Snappa at this point because we had the idea for Snappa, and we knew that we had the traffic, that would actually make it a feasible business. So the first thing we did in the left-hand side is we added this banner ad. So this generates about 50 signups a month for us, which is okay, but people are kind of getting banner blindness. So the next thing we did was we added this link in the navigation to make it look a little more native. And so this did well. This gets us about 120 signups a week. Then we also added this, made by Snappa on the homepage, which has 45 signups. And then I thought, well, we still have that original blog post about free stock photos. Let's do a call out for Snappa on that. So we highlighted in yellow and said, oh, by the way, if you're creating images, if you're using stock photos to create images for blog posts and yada yada, you're going to want to check out Snappa. And so we actually get about 110 signups a week from this. So that worked really well. So at this point, we had about 300 signups between all of this, and we're happy with that. But for the amount of traffic the site was generating, we knew we can do better. And it kind of dawned on me that the person is going to be the most engaged right after they download a photo. So I thought that would be a great time to maybe add some sort of pop-up or whatever. So what I did was I created this animated GIF. So as soon as someone downloaded a photo, it would play this, and it would say, have you heard of Snappa? It's a graphic design tool, blah, 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 blah. And as soon as we implemented this, we started getting about 300 signups a week. So this is a graph of our weekly signups, and you can see that when we added that modal, it was just pretty crazy for the amount of signups that we were getting. So the takeaway here is never stop optimizing. Patrick had said everyone's always trying to get more traffic, but sometimes you have enough traffic, you just need to find a better way to convert or utilize that traffic. So one more thing, word of mouth has been huge for our business, so obviously having a good product is important, but one way that you can speed that word of mouth up is through influencers. So the social media team at SEMrush is using our tool to create images for their SEMrush chat. And you can see that at the end of their chats, they always shout us out as the tool that they're using to create these images. And when you have an influencer recommending your product, they're so much more willing to trust you and give you a chance, as if they just kind of stumbled across your thing. And so I was like, wow, that worked really well. So just recently, I emailed Sujan Patel, who's really well known in the marketing space. And I said, hey, big fan of your work. We just built this tool. Here's a login. Let me know what you think of it. And so he replied back. He said, wow, this is amazing. The team loves it. And so we actually got a testimonial from him. Now he mentions us in posts. So every time we get an influencer, giving us a shout out, it really makes people trust us and more willingness to give us a chance. So definitely identify the influencers in your niche and do whatever you can to get them on your side and using your product. I forgot to post the slides, so if you want them, just email me at christopher@snappa.io, or if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thanks.